Right children? So the dental formula of the human being already we discussed now. 2123 by 2123. Okay. So here the first two is incisors, canines, premolars and molars. So children, the three, it is the molar na. In that last molar, it is appears in at the age of 21 years children. The last premolar appear at the age of 21 years. So that's why the last molar is called wisdom teeth children. What is that? Wisdom teeth. Okay, the last molar of the human being is appears at the age of 21. So that is called a wisdom teeth. Right? See children, the first incisors, the incisor structure chisel like structure children, chisel like shaped. So it is helping cutting. Okay, incisors help in cutting. Now canines, the canines are dagger like structure, knife like structure children. So that is helping tearing. Right? Next the premolars and molars. So they are cheek teeth. The premolars and molars are called cheek teeth. So that are helping grinding of the food material. Okay, right children. So this is about a dental formula of the human being. Now we discuss about clear the structure of tooth. Okay, so this is the structure of tooth children. The diagram it is 4 marks important diagram children. Only diagram is 4 marks important. And next one the remaining points of this tooth it is mainly bitwise and MZ in important children. Okay. Now the structure of tooth, it has mainly 3 parts. One is crown, second one is neck and third one is root. Okay. The crown is exposed part children. Right. Outside the exposed part of the tooth is called the crown. Then neck, it is the middle part of the tooth. Neck is called middle part. Now root. The tooth is embedded in the socket of the jawbone. That part of the tooth is called a root. Okay. Crown is exposed part of the tooth. Neck is middle part of the tooth. And root is embedded in the socket of the jawbone. Okay. Right. So these are the mainly 3 parts. Right children. Now next the tooth. Total tooth children. The bulk of the tooth. It is composed by the dentine. Children, this is the bulk of the tooth. Total tooth is composed by the dentine. It is a hard material children. That dentine, it is origin from odontoblast cell children. What is that? Odontoblast cells. Right. The tooth, the bulk of the tooth is dentine. It is origin from odontoblast cells. That odontoblast cells, it is the origin from the mesoderm layer. Mesoderm layer. Okay. Now next one children. Dentine of the crown children. The dentine of the crown, it is covered by the enamel. Okay. The dentine of the crown, it is covered by the enamel. It is a whitish color children. The enamel is a whitish color. That enamel, it is origin from amyloblast cell children. It is very important for bit amyloblast cell. So that amyloblast cells origin ectoderm. Okay, ectoderm. You observe children once again, the bulk of the tooth is formed by the hard material, that is dentine. So that dentine is origin from odontoblast of mesoderm. Next, of crown is covered by the dentine of the crown is covered by enamel. Okay, the dentine of the crown is covered by enamel. That enamel is origin from amyloblast of ectoderm. You observe children, the tooth is origin from mainly observe ecto and mesoderm layer. It is very important. The tooth of the human being origin from the ecto and the mesoderm layer. That's why it's called. Right. Next, the inside of the tooth, it has a small cavity. You observe this color. It has a small cavity. That cavity is called pulp cavity. What is that? Pulp cavity. Okay, inside of the tooth has a small cavity is called pulp cavity. That pulp cavity filled with the pulp children. It is called pulp. So pulp means odontoblast cells, nerves, and next one blood vessels. So that are called a pulp. Okay, here the pulp cavity is lined by, here children observe, the pulp cavity is lined by the odontoblast. It is important for children, very important bit. The pulp cavity internally lined by the odontoblast. That odontoblast produce, what is that? Dentine. The dentine is called the bulk of tooth. Okay, right children. Next one. Here the dentine of the root. Here children, this is the dentine of the root. The dentine of the root, it is covered by the cementum. What is that? Cementum. The dentine of the root is covered by the cementum. The cementum help in, what is that? It fixes the tooth in the socket of the jawbone. Next. Here children, the root is covered by, what is that? Gum. Okay, children, once again, listen. Structure of the tooth. The tooth has three parts: crown, neck, and root. Crown is exposed part, neck is middle part of the tooth, and root is embedded in the socket of jawbone, children. Okay. Now, the tooth, it is formed by or composed by dentine. Okay. The dentine is origin from odontoblast cells of mesoderm layer. Next, the dentine of the crown is covered by the enamel. Children, you observe just whitish color of the tooth, that is called enamel. That enamel is origin from ameloblast cell. Children, it is very important, ameloblast cell. So the ameloblast cells of ectoderm. So that's here the tooth are origin from ectomesoderm layer. Here very important for 2 marks question, children. Here in human being, the hardest substance, okay, the hardest substance of human being is called the enamel. Children, is very important for 2 marks question or bit, children. What is that? In human being, very hardest substance is called the enamel. Okay, right. Now next, the inside of the tooth has a small cavity. Okay, inside of the tooth has a small cavity. That cavity is called a pulp cavity. The pulp cavity filled with a pulp. Pulp means it is a composition of blood vessels, nerves, and odontoblast cells. That odontoblast cells, it is internally lined of a pulp cavity. Okay. Now next, children. The root of the dentine, it is covered by cementum, and cementum is helping the tooths are embedded in the socket of jawbone. Okay children.